Hey y'all, bear with me just one moment. Hey, okay, there we go. Hey everybody. So I redid my Princess Leia type of hairdo. Uh hairdo or hairdo if they call it, I'm not sure. But this one a little different. It's not as pointy as the other one. I think I like the other one better, but they're a little bit more even, not as out. So I would probably make it a little tighter so it'll look like this or do it the way I had it before. I don't know how I can get it that way again. This is more like a bun where I can just open it up and twirl it around. I know y'all don't care about none of this. I just like anyways, I forgot what I came on here for. Oh, the truth. Hold to the truth and he will set you free. Oh, hold to the truth and he will set you free. I can't sing high. Hold to the truth, to the God that rescued me. Hold to the truth. He's the God who set me free. I can't remember the song now. I think I recorded it. I think I uploaded it to YouTube. I don't have it on my phone, but if y'all see Hold to the Truth, y'all probably need to watch it. It's a good song. I came up with the lyrics. I don't. The sound is probably from another old hymn, an old a hymn that I might have mimicked. I don't know if y'all can see my eyes or not with this thing on me. But anyways, hold to the truth. Um, and I made another one for His glory. If y'all hear that, y'all should probably listen to that too. For His glory, it's too high. For His glory. Obedience in the love. I don't know if I can hit that note anymore for some reason. It's to the tune of to the fire, through the limit, to it all. I changed the words a little bit. Sorry. So for his glory, obedience in the love fills his temple. Words. I haven't even remembered the words to that song. I had it a minute ago. That's not why I came on here either. I wanted to hold to the truth. And I didn't write that down. So there was another one I did too. I think Hold to the Truth and It's War. This means war. And War, it's just War. The song is just War by Charles Jenkins. And it's to his the lyrics are to his to that song War, to the sound or the music of War. But this one is for his glory, obedience in the love fills his temple, because Abba wants to be with us through eternity. His creation, a sacrifice of a love, whose life his only begotten Son. Boom. To the fire, a gracious gift from God. It's a little too high, my Lord. Take a key, Lord. For my family, until death for Abba, we will fight in disobedience. Down with the system, civil in God we trust. With our lives enduring to the end, just waiting for God to declare it is finished. our family's life on earth. To be in the presence of our King, God, and brother, precious and holy, being His, has been with me through everything. I ask to be just like our King, always fighting for freedom, justice, and peace. That's all I got so far for his glory. I wrote some more. To the fire, through the limit, through the world. A bus mystery that the truth really lived for God's glory. The Spirit lives within His temple. Whoever is so willing to live according to the crowns, the martyr's way of life is found in sacrifice, obedience, and love to our God, the Father's only Son. I just added that. Let me put that in there on this paper right quick. Let me stop playing, y'all. I'm not playing, but that's some I like those lyrics. I need to fix some of it, but make it sound more aesthetically pleasing. How's it? The martyr's way of life is found. Is found in obedience. I can spell that. D, I think it's sacrifice, and love. Some more words too. I'm gonna have to listen to this, watch this again, and get the rest of the words. I just forgot it. It's found in obedience, sacrifice, and love, and some other words. But anyways, what I came on here for was to fix the end of what was it, Random Thoughts? What was it? Make you think. It's about the truth. Hold to the truth. So I forgot what Random Thoughts was about. I think it was about how Dinah was raped by what tribe was they? The I can't remember. It wasn't the Hivites. Was it the Hivites? It should be in the word, but it wasn't the Hivites. Whatever tribe it was it was a prince, and his name was Shechem, and his father's name was Haram, and he raped her. And then in the word it talks about how he took her and laid with her and talked lovingly to her, or kindly, or something like that. But it was rape because he defiled her, and she wasn't his wife. He didn't go to her father and ask for her hand in marriage or none of that. He just raped her. She was with the women and he raped her. And the word tries to make it downplay rape a lot in the word. And it downplays it a lot. Like it doesn't really mention much about it, like it's not a big deal to God. And that's what the defilement comes in. That's where the abomination comes in. Pedophilia is a form of rape that is so defiling and so disgusting to God, because he can't be defiled, that it's an abomination. It's end of the world, a bomb. Ending. What bombs do? They end life. Rape. That's what I was thinking about the other day. What is it about rape that ends life, that makes you want to die, that makes you not want to live? And it's not the fact that I was raped so much that I don't want to live. I've been raped so much that it's starting to get a little bit I'm starting to be a little bit desensitized by it. But it's not a normal way of life. It's not like I'm getting desensitized to the point where I would want to do that to somebody else, or I would want to hurt a child. I think it's an abomination. I think it's so defiling that I don't want to live with this stuff anymore on life, on earth with it. I don't want to live on earth with this mindset to think that pedophilia should be considered lawful. I don't want to live on earth with this stuff thinking that you should be able to get away with murder because you're an elite being. Yeah, right. You're a thing that's a demonic thing that's getting away with murder. So in saying that, I want to tell the truth. I want to tell the truth. In this way, I was talking about before how the mind's eye, how I've been in the mind's eye so long, and how they've been using it, the mind's eye, to hurt people in a religious sector, right? Like they've been watching children of God who go to church and then making them mentally ill. People who are really seeking God and loving God, and how they've been using the church leaders to do it, the heads, the church leaders. The head, the body is always, the word head is always in the word of God. The word head is always synonymous to leader, or in charge of, or the top being person in charge of, basically the head. And they go to the religious heads or the leaders or the pastors. Head pastors is another word. Head pastors of the church, and they bribe them in a certain way that a coercion make them think. Because he had mind's eyes on them too. There's a demonic sorcerer who goes to the church heads, right? Is this the false prophet? Could be a part of it, right? But it's a man. How it was explained to me, they have to tell certain truths to stay, for them not to be mentally ill. And then they used to path the church heads or the pastors or leaders to, in the mind's eye, to act like they're God. First, they go to the church and they get intertwined with the church financially. Okay, they invest in the church. They invest in the building. They invest in getting them a building and helping them pay their bills like they love God. A Jewish man who loves God. This is how it was explained to me from Detroit Northwest. A Jewish man who loves God and wants to invest in our church and believes in our message, basically. That he believes that Jesus is the Christ. He believes Jesus is God, and that even though he's Jewish, I guess he's supposed to portray himself as a Messianic Jew. I mean, that his bloodline lineage is Jewish. Right? So he wants people to believe that he's a Jewish man who thinks Jesus is the Christ, that Jesus is God. And he invests in the church, right? He invests in the church. And then for you have to do certain things, though, as a head or as the pastor of the church. You have to do certain things or preach certain messages a certain way, right? First of all, he corrupts the church leaders and heads with their wives. He said he makes their wives think. That's the Jezebel spirit. So you're a man of God, and you got a woman of God. That's your wife, right? And you know she loves God, and you know you love God. You have the same mindset when you start off, right? You on one accord, heart, mind, body, and soul. They place women around her that make her think. And they start to corrupt her heart. If you're unevenly yoked, you should not be flocking with evil women, right? Unevenly yoked, not man and wife. I'm talking about friendship. It's not just for my husband and wife in my mindset. What is the saying? Birds of a feather flock together. And they act like they're so lively and they love you so much, and they be your best friends, right? They're making you think the whole time. They make you think they're worth love, just like these demonic men. They make you think because they dropping bugs on you and manipulating your brain. And they're using their demonic souls that they've come in agreement with, because they're sorcerers and witches. And they're evil. They're evil. Not just witches, but evil. I don't know if witches is a good term to use when it's spiritualist and dark magic. That's what Z wants me to think. Spiritualist and dark magic. Because I think that's pretty dark. I don't want to make a derogatory remark about somebody who's been studying witchcraft, like a good witch or Wiccan who's been lied to, and make them feel bad because they've been lied to and make them think that good witches go to heaven. So instead of being called a good witch, they call themselves Catholic, because Catholicism is the religious group behind Wiccan, supposedly. Supposedly, that's how it was revealed to me. I'm not sure. I don't know much about it. It could be Wiccans in a lot of different religions, but the ones who love God, obey, and thinks Jesus is the Christ are called Catholics. So in saying that, they mess with my brain because I started saying again. I remember. I now know how my president feel. Anyways, they drop bugs on you. And they make you think as a woman of God who's married to the head pastor. So they want to get as close to you as possible. Right? And don't think it's from the beginning of church. It's from the beginning of your life when they see how much you love God and how much you want to know God and how much you want to have understanding of his word. You might even want to preach at one point. You might even want to do a woman's Bible study at one point. Because they also make you think that women are not supposed to be able to preach or be pastors or run a church or be president. They make you think. You don't know what women are capable of if they have their best friends who are not well. Not all of them have best friends that way. I'm just saying in general. When in the church setting, they corrupt women of God that have good hearts, that love God and want to know who God is, and want to be obedient to the Father, want to be good stewards of their mind, their heart, their body, their soul, their finances, their children, their husbands. If they have to work, their time, how they love, and what to love, and what to put above this in the hierarchy of love. And it's nothing above God, not even your husband. Remember that, because he's going to teach you how to love your husband. But loving God first, standing on the truth always. That's what God taught me. Because I loved my husband more than I love God, I would not be with him. I would either be dead from heartbreak or just living here without love. I would probably be dead, really. If I loved Derek more than I love God. Because I love Derek more than I love God. And if I put him above God, I would not want to live. From all the stuff we went through. I don't think God would give me understanding. I think he would have just took me. That's how heartbroken I was at one point. From all the things that I've been through. Supposedly playing this, it's not a game. They try to play it off like it was. It's not a game. This is a systematic takeover of the whole world. And the United States is the last frontier. And saying that they corrupted the church head leaders by going after their wives. And seducing their minds and making them think they should be the neck that turns to head. The stupid stuff like that. They should be able to make their husbands think a certain way about women in the church. And then they target certain women in the church who love God. Because they have been corrupted by their friends, right? And then CERN makes them think the same women and men in the church that love God, they get a congregation or a clique. It's called church cliques, like groups, to go after one person or maybe two, maybe not even one, just one person. It's very few men and women in church who actually love God, and it has to be a church where they're being fed spiritually for them to even stay there. This is how to get people out of the church, and this is how they control them. Either they're going to submit or they're going to leave the church. This is called church hurt. They're heartbroken by leaders. And it doesn't have to be next to the pastor or the wife. It could be a leader in some other sort. Bible study leader, small group leader, choir director, right? The leader inside the organization, the leaders of the organization. This is how this starts. That's the Jezebel spirit in the organization. And they're slick with it, and they're evil and deceitful. And they lie. And you can't tell they're lying. I can. I don't know if their husbands care or if they know. I don't think they can, because they're using sex to corrupt them. And they say, they say stuff like, when I was at Detroit Northwest, one of the women used to, she bragged about being a virgin, her husband being her only woman, not a virgin, but her husband being the only woman, being the only man she was with. Some even said they were virgins before they even married their husband, which is a great thing. That's something I always wanted to be. I fell short majorly in that department. That's why I stopped having sex and wanted to devote my life to God. That was because of one of my favorite persons in the world, Pastor Mike. Transformation Nation. Okay? Listening to his sermons and watching his sermons on YouTube and live changed my life. He's anointed. He's been called. He's already said that. They already told him that as a youngster, as 18. Right? Young man. He was called and he answered. If you look at some of his earlier, like Marked and what was the other one? Marked and The Deep is more sooner. That's not really, but he has so many. It's so many. But Marked was one that really helped me. The one on pornography changed my life. The one about being in the deep changed my life. These are not just sermons, but they're like I can't even think. They're not sermons, but they're series. They're series. And it's like Bible study when you go to church. That's how Pastor Moss was. It was like Bible study. It wasn't like an actual church sermon where he preached to you. He actually taught you. And I thrive more with teachers as pastors, like teaching pastors, who tries to give you understanding and a way to live for God. And that's what he did. But just like Pastor Moss, every church I've been to, just like Pastor Moss, just like Pastor, I can name every pastor. Pastor Wilson was one of the first one. Pastor Hood was the first church. Plymouth United Methodist. I didn't know it was United Methodist at the time. It's United Methodist now, I think, or AME. I can't remember which type of Methodist it is, but it's a Methodist church that we started off at as kids. Reverend Hood knew about this mess. In my mind's eye, they say it was him. I don't know, but they even say he used it on Andrea. The mind's eye. Pastors know what this is. And they've come in agreement with this man, this demon, the beast, the image of the beast, who now calls himself the beast. Bill Gates, who's invested in the religious systems of the world and used Babylon the Great, the mystery, not the mystery of God, but mystery, not the mystery, or not the mystery of God, to infiltrate and corrupt these church leaders and use sexual immoral things to corrupt them. My mind's eye. Watching it. The curses they put on it. And the things they make you feel from watching it. I don't know what they make them do in the mind's eye. I just know it makes them sick. Makes them physically have lust. They put lust on the pastors for the mind's eyes that they watch. They put lust on their necks as a curse. Like right here. This thing in their mind from watching it. Which makes them sick, especially if they're married. makes them think that they want to love you. And they're men of God, and they have wives. And they never looked at you that way before until they start watching your mind's eye. Then that separates you from their wives, secondly, from you being ministered to, because now they were teaching the church that the wives had to be co-pastors after they corrupt them. The wives had to be leaders with the husband and be in on the messages or the counseling sessions. And then the wives are corrupted by the best friends if they're not already corrupted from the beginning. And they giving incorrect counseling because they haven't heard from God. They're listening to the enemy. And how they get in the church, I didn't get to that point. Like I said, the finances. It's a machine. It's a whole system. The finances. So they start with, they raise the heating bill. When you move in, the heating bill is $5,000 and it goes up to $10,000. Right, a month. You budget it for 5 years and projected growth, right? But then they start raising the bills on you and the rent on you. So then this Savior comes in, Jesus, and invests in your church because he believes in your message and he believes you're a man of God and he believes that Jesus is the Christ. He comes in like Captain Save a Church. But then you have to start doing certain things to stay alive because you've come in agreement with Satan, with the beast, the image of the beast. By watching people's mind's eye and making them mentally ill because they love God. And my pastor Moss didn't make me mentally ill. CERN, the watchers. They're supposed to watch, but they have ways of putting curses on your mind's eye to make you sick. I was attacked by people around me and in CERN. People in the church, they use the people in the church because of this right here. And if you love them, so if you love them, they can put curses on you, make you sick and depressed. They use your own family. Because you love your family, right? You love your mother, you love your sister. So when they start talking bad about you, especially the people in the church, and other people in the church start talking bad about you, and you being a child of God and loving God the way you do, you're going to love people in the church because you think they're supposed to love you too. So they all talking bad about you in a little small group or the women's group or the clique, the clique they didn't form, the family. They're all talking bad about you in your mind's eye. All of them. Got some negative thought or a way of thinking. Trying to kill your heart. Right? So from the first church, it was Plymouth United Methodist, and it was we stopped going to church for a while. I really didn't go to any other church that I can remember other than God's Holy Temple. We went there for a while. We left God's Holy Temple. And my mom found Strictly Biblical. We stopped going to church for a while, and then we went to Strictly Biblical for a long time. Maybe that's probably the longest time I've ever really been in a church setting. Maybe 5 or 6 years. I was a regular churchgoer in the beginning. After I got on Abilify, because they were already making me sick before I even got on Abilify. And Pastor Moss is the reason why I got on Abilify in the first place. They wanted to have me on Geodon, Respidone, and Depakote, which does nothing for me, which doesn't help, doesn't work at all. Abilify was actual medicine until they changed the formula. I don't know how to, and they changed the formula of the aripiprazole, which is the generic. So I don't even think I get the real Abilify when I was in this NFT time when I was supposedly on it in that first hospital. And I started throwing it up because it was semen. And the doctor who saved my life when I was in Jefferson mental health clinic, the inpatient, it's the same doctor who told me in my mind's eye to throw up the medicine. Because I was on it for a week and it didn't help. I wasn't sleeping. The only thing that was helping me sleep was the Wellbutrin, and they stopped giving me that. I guess they couldn't change the formula on that one. And he saved my life when he put me on it over 20 years ago. Because Depakote, Risperidone, and Geodon does not work. It's an agreement on that medicine that does not work. And it's been around for so long that they can get away with giving it to people still. I don't know why, but it doesn't work. It's not real medicine. No medicine is real in this area anyway. I don't think they even have any real medicine in the United States with them burning down Pfizer and Moderna. I don't even know if AstraZeneca is still alive. I mean, still open. Then they turned it to Modesta. So I don't, I don't know what pharmaceutical companies are even open to the point where the world can still go on with medicine. The system. So getting back to the churches. So I left off at Strictly Biblical. I was there for the longest. And what they did was they tried to act like my pastor Moss's voice was the voice of God. Because that's the last time I remember hearing the voice of God. Wasn't my pastor Moss, it was somebody else. It was something else. I'm trying to remember what it was. But I had a dream. Like I said, that's when I had that dream when I was in that hospital, Circle of Life, for 3 weeks. I was there for 2 weeks. I went to court and they made me stay another week. Then they sent me, I went home with the Geodon, Risperidone, and Depakote, which almost killed me. And they took me back to another inpatient, and they took me to Jefferson Psychiatric Inpatient Hospital, where they almost killed me in there. I don't know if because they couldn't rape me. They didn't get a chance to rape me because as soon as I got in there, the doctor put me on Abilify because I was already raped at the other hospital and didn't know it. To death. To death. And that's the other. And Circle of Life is when I went through the black hole in my dream and I saw Z. And God sent me back for her because she would not be a good girl without her mother. She would not love God without her mother. And she where my bowl at? So anyways, Jefferson, they tried to have me raped by, it looked like the same orderly that's in this area that's working at these hospitals. I don't know if it's spiritual, the mindset, or the demon they use to rape the women in the mental health hospitals. But he was at Circle of Life, and I seen him at this other hospital that probably raped me. He probably was the one who raped me. At Oasis, Katie Oasis. But anyways, so what they did was they gave me acid. The same thing they doing now with this throat thing. It was something living off of me then, and it was hurting my throat like with parasites. They called it acid reflux, but it wasn't. It was a soul living off me. It had to be. I wasn't cracking my neck like I am now because it's more than one on me right now. But then I would wake up at night and all this would be swollen and hurting. And usually they just give me some Maalox. But they didn't. The Asian nurse lady, she told the orderly to grab me. And when he went to grab me, I screamed no. And he couldn't pull me. And he got scared from my voice. And then 2 of them grabbed me. And CERN had to drain me of energy then. Because I wasn't ready to fight or they thought I probably was ready to fight. So they already knew who I was in the sense of the strength I had. And I wasn't this weight. I was like 250 then. My dad and my brother couldn't even pick me up and put me in a car. That's how much I weighed with dead weight. They tried to carry me to the car to take me to the mental health hospital, and they couldn't even do that. That's why they had to call the police. So they dragged me in there, threw me in the mattress. There was a mattress in there. There was poop all over the walls. And they got me down, and she gave me a shot in my arm. And that demon, the orderly, jumped on my neck with his elbow and tried to kill me. I think that was they was going to let me go the next day. So they wanted to kill me that night. Or probably rape me and replace me. Like they did at the other building, at the other hospital. And he jumped on my neck with his elbow, almost killed me. And I screamed. And I didn't feel it. I didn't die. All I remember is walking around in that room all night in the days, not want to touch anything. Like I did when I was at the UT Physicians Behavioral Health Research Center in the days. Barely, with my eyes barely open. I was a little more awake at the Jefferson Clinic, though, in that little seclusion room. I never went back to sleep. I never laid back down on that mattress. So this stuff has been around for a while. Don't think this is new. For centuries, probably. And when they let me out, they kept me an extra day because I was sick. I hadn't slept that night. I think that was Wednesday. That was I got out on the 6th on Z's birthday. I want to get out on the 5th so I can throw her, like, surprise her with some cake and ice cream. And I told the doctor that. So on the 4th, the night of going into the 4th, they did that to me. I was supposed to get out the 5th, but I was asleep. I was so tired. And so when the 6th came, they let me out, and that man was still messing with my mind, the orderly and the nurse. And probably CERN. Because I was sitting there getting my blood pressure taken. And I was about to be released because my mom had brought me some clothes to keep me warm. And I had put the clothes on instead of the gown. Because I was going home. And they were making me sleepy. And I was sitting there with my breast out because I didn't have any bra. And my nipples was showing. And I didn't know it. Like I was still mentally ill. Like I was still sick. And the same orderly who tried to kill me took my blood pressure. And I was high. And this is before I had blood pressure issues. This is what I'm saying. This is the curses they put on us as children of God. So this is, and this when I called my pastor when I was in there. Called Pastor Moss. And I asked him, he told me, he said, don't believe what you hear, basically. It's imaginary. It's your imagination. It's not real. That's what he told me. And I asked him, because I trust him. And I trusted him then. And I told him, and I asked him, does your daughter go through this? And he was hesitant to speak, and he said, yes. I heard, because my mom said your daughter has dealt with this before. So I wanted to know the verification in how did he know this is an imagination? It wasn't. And I think because he lied, he started to get sick. And I think he took that on from me so I would heal. And maybe his daughter too. Because how you think and the things you come in agreement with, they have to deal with. Right? So if he says his daughter deals with mental illness and it's a lifelong issue, because that's basically what they were telling me, right? Then he has to take that on for his daughter, right? Or she'll be mentally ill for the rest of her life. That's how this thing works, right? Because I started to heal when I started taking Abilify right away. And then I got in the car with Andrea, whose mind is intertwined in some way, shape, or form. And she started making me sick. So are the bugs dropped on you intentionally, or is it how you think about the person? That's the whole point. If you think I ain't shit, I ain't worth shit, and the bugs come from shit, forgive me, right? The sins come out your butt, then your intestine, Is that what drops on me? Even with people who don't intentionally try to drop that shit on me. I just wonder. To make you think. So I got in the car with Andrea. And she was talking crazy. And then I started to get sick again. I can't remember what the conversation was, but I started to get sick. Even though I felt perfectly fine. It probably was CERN trying to make me sick too, still putting curses on me. I don't know. What you call it already said she was living in Andrea's mind since she was Babylon said she'd been living in Andrea's mind since she was 40. And in the word it says she gets drunk from the blood of the saints. So she puts that stuff in put that stuff in Andrea's mind. She got operatives, her clones, her doppelgangers. She's like Apollyon with the clone thing. And the multiple souls that her souls of multiple clones of herself keeping her alive. That she's putting on people's backs. In their mind's eye. Living off of. Has she been living off of Andrea since Andrea was in her 40s? Probably longer than that. Because she's older than Andrea. So she, like I said, this thing has been following me around since birth, probably. They tried to kill me at birth. They put something on Andrea's neck to drown me at what 6-7 months before Sherry was born. It was before Sherry was born. I couldn't have been more than 6 months old because I'm only I'm a year and 3 months older than Sherry, right? So Andrea found out she was pregnant with Sherry about the 4th month. So it's probably what 8 or 9 months at the most, maybe 10. Not even a year yet. And they killed me, and she killed me with the curses on her neck from the spiritual attack in her mind. So you telling me she gonna say she was living in her mind since 40, but they been trying to kill me since birth. It says it in the word. The mystery of God is finished. And I'm starting to think that the mystery of God is a lot more than what they say it is. God hasn't given me understanding on that yet. I mean, true confirmation. And if he has, they've intercepted it and they know who I am and they don't want me to know who I am. That's why they have all this stuff on me. Acting like they can't control these demons that's attacking me. No agreements kept, no new agreements made. They didn't hold to the 7-year treaty. So when I was at Strictly Biblical and I started to get better, I started to worship and I would sing. They gave me my voice. They took the thing off my throat and my voice, God gave me my voice back because the voice I had before I went in that hospital was so beautiful. I used to be able to make sounds, not noises, inaudible sounds and see lights when I worship. I don't know if the lights were from CERN, but I know I would see them. It happened to me one time. And I was just worshiping. I wasn't even saying ah. I was saying ah. It was so beautiful, and I felt so good when I did it. They already draining my heart draining me of that. They already draining my heart. That's why I can't live on earth with these things. They hate me so much they don't want me to. And they're living in my mind's eye and off my mind's eye, and I can't live. They said I'm finished on earth with them, and they can't live without me. They can't. Even if they took all these souls off my neck. Even if I was able to sing and dance and love my children and family like I want to. Who's to stop them from dropping them bugs on me when they get ready to? On anybody, though. Who wants the bugs in their brain, making them think? How are people supposed to live doing the dark things they're doing when it's been exposed and the whole world can feel this stuff? So getting back to Strictly Biblical. Pastor Moss. So before I even went into the hospital, I heard the voice of Pastor Moss as God. That's why I called him when I got into Jefferson too. But I said, you sound like Pastor Moss. And he stopped talking. So then they covered up his voice and act like it was the voice of God, but it wasn't. It wasn't the voice of God. I knew it wasn't the voice of God when I was walking in that basement for 6 hours and I thought it was 30 minutes. And I was asking God, Lord, I want gifts. I want to serve your kingdom. I want to do your will on this earth. I want to, all this stuff I'm asking for God. Just to live and love him. I want to be able to sing for you, Lord. I was talking about professionally at the time. I want to write music for you because I was being blocked from all the gifts God had for me. I want to dance for you, Lord. These are the things I wanted to do for God on earth. To tell the truth about God being real. And it was a lot more than that. They thought I wanted to write a book. I said music. I want to write a book. No book to be written. What book can I write when they show them the world my whole life? And then to their interpretation, their understanding. So back to strictly biblical. So they start covering his voice up. They start covering up Pastor Moss's voice. Then he started to get sick. And I noticed it. They tried to try to act like I was looking at him like I was attracted to him. And they tried to have him look at me like he was attracted to me. And when I got up on him, his eyes were so dark and black. Then they had somebody must have been in my mind's eye to make me think I thought he was unattractive then. It wasn't that. I never looked at him in that way. That was my pastor. He was more like a father figure than a pastor because my dad was sick. My dad was sick. And the things he was going through with my mother. I didn't know at the time, but I guess he was cheating on her. He was gambling a lot, Ever since the house burned down, we never recovered. I don't think their relationship ever recovered from that. I think that's what the stability part of the relationship and the finances were. They got to spend their money how they wanted to because their house was paid for, and they would pay the light and gas bill. And it was a good house. It wasn't dilapidated or anything. My dad, he constantly fixed it up. Was constantly working on it, keeping the grass and the lawn clean. He would he painted it, washed the dirt off the paint. He had a BB gun. He would keep the pigeons from messing up the roof any worse. Only thing it needed was a new roof. And I don't think that was even that bad because we had no leaks in the house. I think the roof was messed up from the fire. I mean, when we was little, we had issues like roaches, But my mom and dad bombed the house every weekend until the roaches were gone, and that was it. And I think, like I say, roaches went out of style in the late 80s, early 90s. Right? I'm just saying. They did. You got a way of getting rid of them. It wasn't just orking either. Right? You got tired of living with them, you do something to get rid of it, right? So anyways, Pastor Moss, he knew what this was. But he didn't do it to the point where he was trying to make me sick. He was trying to keep me healthy and alive, just like the doctor who prescribed the Abilify for me. At such a high dosage. Some agreements came with it, like diabetes and hypertension. But they put it on me immediately. It wasn't gradual. It was 7 days in. I wasn't sick. I didn't have that stuff before that. Right? And that was the only pill I needed. It was nothing else. That was the agreement. So they start messing with me again, pushing me. When I went to Northeast Guidance Center, they start pushing me inside the building, and they prescribed me more medicine, Lamictal and Effexor. Then Lamictal, when I got pregnant with Chris, broke my stomach out with eczema or some type of parasitic infection in my skin, probably from whatever was holding on to my body while I was pregnant with Chris. Right? Hmm? Was it the soul of his so-called father, or was it the mystery or mystery? Mystery hates me so much. And the funny thing is, I didn't know who Derek's wife was, but I used to pray for her. I used to pray we would be a family, and she would share her daughter with me, who's not hers anymore. Right? Because y'all told me in my mind's eye now that Derek had full custody, and Derek don't have to live with her, and he's not married to her anymore, right? Then y'all gave Derek full custody, right? No joint custody, no visitation rights, right? She's a rapist and a pedophile. I'm just saying, this that would make sense, right? Because she living off of them, right? Babylon the Great, drunk with the blood of the saints, right? Her God is supposed to turn her over, according to Revelation 17, but he didn't. I just did a Bible study on that earlier, right? Her God's supposed to turn her over. 18 talks more about her downfall too. In that hour, it doesn't say in another hour. It say in that hour. This already happened. 17 already happened. The part where she splits into three beings. She splits the spirit of Babylon into three beings. That already happened too. Babylon the Great split into three parts. And the cities of the nation fell. The great city. So the city, so understanding. Fell though. Fell. What does that fell mean? I haven't looked it up yet. Means you fell on the ground. Not like you failed your course, right? Fell. And the cities of the nations fell. So the other demonic, like understanding of like the Jezebel spirit and the other demons that are running, that are in on this understanding, right? The demons, y'all got the soldiers, the warriors or soldiers, not warriors but soldiers. The soldiers y'all got out here giving people AIDS with the multiple souls on them, like in Korea and like in Vietnam. The wars I'm talking about, I mean. So if it's in a war, it's probably on the people too then, right? Because talks about the bowls, and the bowls talked about was that the bowls or the seals? I think those were the seals. The bowls are the plagues, and the seals were talking about how the soldiers had faces of humans or faces of men, and hair, long hair like women, breastplates of jasper and rubies or something like that, brimstone, like hard muscle body, chest, and breast, right? With tails, with stingers and tails like mouths. Hmm. Filled with disease. These souls that's walking through walls and raping these women who are abstinent, giving them disease, and then they go tell their doctor that they're abstinent, they're not having sex. But when they look in their mind's eye, the doctor has to look at the history of the mind's eye in order to heal them with a shot, or with a penicillin shot or a triamcinolone shot. And they look and see they haven't been having sex. But how can they tell if they having sex if they got a demon that looks like in the spiritual app looks like he's standing there having sex with you, right? Unless you know what this is. So tell me something. Do certain doctors know the difference between they probably do now, but back then I don't think they knew the difference between the spiritual view and the actual, was it being shown? Because when I got that shot after camp, she didn't want to give it to me. I'm telling her I wasn't having sex. I wasn't having sex. I was abstinent, but I've been having this issue for a long time, and I was just raped the night before. So how do you go in your doctor's office and tell them, look, I'm not having sex, but I had the feeling of having sex. I had a dream that I was having sex. But I was obviously being raped. But I mean, you don't call it rape because it's a dream, right? You don't know what the dream is. So how do you say you couldn't move and say no? Stop. Huh? How can you move? How could you tell the doctor, look, I had a involuntary dream of having sex with a demon, right? You mentally ill then, right? You need medicine. But the medicine is full of blood and semen. Right? How do you tell the doctor that? How do you get healed from that? You wake up the next morning and you got semen in you that's yellow and red. Or discharge that's yellow and red. But you ain't had one before. And you've been abstinent and you telling the world, they watching your mind's eye. I ain't had sex with nobody in about a year and a half, and I haven't had sex with anybody in 3 years and with and by myself, sex at all in a year and a half. That's what I was saying. So it wasn't like I was lying. I stopped having sex and I was still masturbating, and then a year and a half I stopped doing that. I went a year and a half without anything. And then they start raping me. Because I didn't want to. I wanted to love God. I wanted to live for God. I wanted a husband. I wanted to be healthy. I was seeking God with everything and he was changing me. I wanted to get rid of diabetes and hypertension. I didn't want to be on medicine anymore of that kind. I figured I'd never get off the mental health medicine, but the shots and the pills I didn't want to take anymore for that. One pill was enough, and I don't want to take that anymore. And I'm not. So back to strictly biblical. So they corrupted him, but God kept him. They tried to anyway. They start making him mentally ill. And they start raping him. I don't even know if they ever stopped raping him. His eyes were so dark. Pastor Moss's eyes were so dark. Like he hadn't even been sleeping. He had all that type of stuff. I think he had diabetes too, or hypertension or something. I don't know if he did or not, but I think he did. His eyes, the circles around his eyes made him look like he had raccoon eyes. Worse than mine. I mean, so bad. I never thought about it before. But I think he was taking more from himself, especially for his daughter, than hurting people with this. And it was lust on him. I think he knew it. I think he knew it was lust on him. He had more understanding. He's the first pastor I ever met that had, or I think of, that had the most understanding of the spiritual realm. Not just dealing with CERN, but from learning, from reading the Hebrew Bible and teaching about Revelations. He had a class on Revelations, on the end times. A whole class. I'm telling you, if I probably got through the class, I probably wouldn't have lived this long. There was a reason. It's a reason for everything. I probably wouldn't even live this long. I probably would have been ready to die for God like in my 30s. I probably would have finished the class. Probably wouldn't have had Chris because I would have been devoting my life to God. I might have even got my husband, so I might have had Chris. Or I might have met Derek and Phil and got Chris, and then we broke up and then got Teddy Bear and then got back together. That's more of a feasible plan than anything, right? Beanie Bear too, and Baby Girl. right? Well, not well. They would have been. Anyways, we would have had Baby Girl and Beanie Bear anyway. But Teddy Bear, we would have had to break up, and you had to give him, or In Vitro, right? They were already friends, right? No, he didn't go to Atlanta yet. I don't think. Or In Vitro, right? I gotta have my teddy bear. So God worked it out for our good, right? I got to. Can't live without him. So back to how they corrupted the pastors. That's how they did it though. He had the Jezebel spirit from Babylon, the cities of the nation, both men and women, corrupting the church, bringing sexual immorality into the church, making people think it's okay to have sex before marriage and sleep around in the church, right? He infiltrated a lot of different church denominations and systems with that. Believing systems too, probably, huh? I don't know how it is in the Muslim religion because my aunt was a Muslim and she took me to a mosque. It's different though. It's different types, right? So she took me to a mosque where the men and women were separate. I mean, girls had to wear dresses, but my dress was too short when I went to I think I had shorts on, but I still should have wore some pants or something. And she wanted me to go so bad. She didn't care if I wore pants or not. But I didn't hear the message. And the women were separate anyway, right? I'm not even thinking that way. That's the enemy's thoughts. Negative and evil thoughts come from the enemy. Remember that. Negative and evil thoughts come from the enemy. So then I left. We left Strictly Biblical because I got pregnant with Chris and Andrea started to get sick because what goes around comes around. You reap what you sow. I don't even think it was Pastor Moss making her sick. I think it was her own evil thoughts coming back to haunt her, and people telling her the truth, and she not wanting to come in agreement with that. Plus Babylon, who had already been living in her brain. Making her sick. And the curses she may have unintentionally put on me, making her sick because they were coming off me from the Abilify and from God. Those curses, you reap what you sow. Sin starts with the thought. Evil and wicked thoughts come from the enemy. How you think, your agreements and thinking, and in your mindset, how you think. If you don't know that, how can you make an informed decision if you don't know that evil and wicked thoughts come from the enemy and you're to cast down those evil and wicked thoughts? Cast them down to understanding that this is not of me. This is not how I want to be. Forgive me, Lord. I don't want to think like that. I don't want to be evil. I don't want to think mean thoughts about my own child or anybody. Right? I don't. I don't want to think mean thoughts about my own child or anybody on earth that loves God, especially, right? You don't want to make anybody else sick. Right? So we left Strictly Biblical after that. I don't even think they seen. I didn't. They haven't. They saw Chris when he was like one or maybe one or two. I didn't have Z with me because she didn't want to go. She was a little older. She's 7 years older than Chris, and so she would have been 8. And something on my throat. Anyways, uh, left Strictly Biblical, and we went to what was that church? Oh no, that was before Strictly Biblical. Pastor Wright. I forgot what his church name was. Was it Pastor Wright? I think it was. It was AME. I think it was AME. I can't remember the name of the church, but it was before Pastor Moss Church. And then we left that church, went to Pastor Moss Church, which is Strictly Biblical. We left Strictly Biblical. We hadn't been in church. We moved out to Canton. And we started going to Detroit Northwest Harvest. Harvest Detroit Northwest, I think it's called, with Pastor Dan and Pastor Mike. They knew about it. Bill Gates followed them out there and offered them money too. That's how I found out it was a Jewish man who believed in the Messianic, the Christian belief. and how he wanted to invest in the church because he really believed in it. I don't know if they ever allowed them to invest in the church. I don't think they really needed money in that sense. They might have already had a Jezebel spirit working in the church anyway, which I do believe they did, in the women and men, especially if they didn't take the investment or the money. They had actual people, pushing a Republican agenda on the idea stating that abortions are wrong and that's why you should vote Republican. Abortions are wrong. How many children are you adopting? How many children are you mentoring? How many children have you helped? Orphans? How many places have you volunteered where children need parents and mentors and not wanting anything but tell them about the love of God? That's the type of stuff I wanted to do. But I felt insecure in myself to be able to do that as a young adult, especially since I had little kids anyway of my own that I wanted to rear up first. And when I started to do it, they wanted to kill me even more. And it wasn't because they were jealous. They wanted to kill me from the beginning. So don't believe nothing they say. This spirit, this is such a strong and how can I say, they the giant that stands strong and mighty. The mighty angel. Demonic attack against me as a person and my family. My husband. To keep me, and it's on so many different aspects. On a soulmate aspect, whoever thought there were soulmates in the first place? I know Pastor Moss said he got his soulmate, so I guess he was thinking like, why can't I have mine? It was he has a soulmate, or he has his soulmate. I can't remember what he said. I think it was he has a soulmate. I can't remember. And then so the other churches I went to after Harvest, Farbrook. I think that was after St. Paul. St. Paul knew. Harvest. After Harvest, I even went to Lighthouse and visited. And they made a comment about my toilet. Was that at Harvest? That was at no. Farbrook made a comment about the toilet being having stains in it and put some Coca-Cola in there and scrub it. And Lighthouse made a comment about don't let that boy sleep in the bed with you naked or something like that. When I wasn't naked, I didn't have a shirt on, I don't think, or a bra. And Chris came up into my room and went to sleep next to me. And I held him and we went to sleep. I wasn't expecting him to come up there because he was sleeping on the bed downstairs. Okay. So this has been going on so freaking long. I just visited. I didn't even join. I wasn't even going to join. And the woman that let us stay in her house when we were homeless, Andrea's friend from United. Who was that with the blonde hair? Just like Apollyon, right? With the multiple souls and clones. And that one from Strictly Biblical. I don't think it was the one with blonde hair in Fallbrook. We really didn't go to that church that long. Chris actually went to school there though, and they tried to kill him a couple times with the food. They kept making him sick. Getting his asthma kept acting up. He had radiation poisoning. I think that might have been from the hospital, from his surgeries. He didn't stay in the hospital long to eat the food, so it had to come from the school, right? He never stayed overnight in the hospital, so he wouldn't have ate the food in the hospital. It was from the school. He had radiation poison. He went to that school for 3 to 4 years, and he was sick. He barely went to school. I had to get doctor's notes and letters just so he would pass each grade. Not that he was dumb, because he's very smart. But it was just the simple fact that he couldn't make it to school because he was constantly sick. Z barely went to school because I had to work, and if I worked during the day, she would stay home with him. But she was in high school, and it was work. She worked at her own pace. That's why she spent so much time in high school. She said she really wasn't doing work that first year, but then she started to buckle down and do her work. She got all A's anyway, from ninth grade to 12th. All A's, maybe one B if that. I don't remember ever seeing a B. Maybe a low A. Even when she did her Spanish and taught herself and finished high school, her last 4 books in 2 weeks, a month, maybe. It wasn't even 2 months, maybe a month. They didn't want to make her valedictorian because she had spent 5 years in high school. They lied and said because she turned her books in, didn't turn her. They made some rule up where you had to turn your books in 2 weeks before graduation or a month before graduation, and then she had to have 2 weeks left to turn the rest of her books in, so she wouldn't be valedictorian. But she had the highest GPA in the whole school. But it's supposed to be like a Montessori school, so what does it matter, right? That's probably some of Tamara's stuff, so she wouldn't get scholarships, and say she was valedictorian. Because you valedictorian, you qualify for certain scholarships, right? She was in the top percentile of her class, but she should have been valedictorian. They came up with some rules saying if you don't turn your books in 2 weeks before 2 weeks before the end of the card marking, right? She turned her books in 2 weeks before, but it was 4 weeks before something else. So it was 4 weeks, and then she got an extra 2 week grace period, and she turned it in before then so she can graduate. She had to do community service, which was COVID. How do you do community service during COVID? So she made something up. Which I don't blame her because I wasn't going to let her do no community service anyway. Was I working there during COVID? That was 21 or 22. I think that was 21 or 20. It wasn't 22. I think it was 21. And she could have, if I was 21, I think I was working for, oh no, that wasn't that far along, was it? Oh yeah, I was in that apartment. Yeah. She could have did community service, but it was COVID from 20 all through 20. And COVID was still kind of going on in 21. Not as strong as it was in the beginning, but it was still, And I was working at Houston Food Bank at the end of 18. So it wasn't 18. I was working for Wells Fargo during COVID. And then I took 7 months off. So I wasn't gonna let her leave. Even though we got that shot. 20, I wasn't working. I had the surgery the end of 20. The 3 surgeries, my nose, my uterus, and my gastric sleeve all in 20. So the gastric sleeve was first. That was the sacrifice. Coming to find out, they say that they planned that because they wanted to help. They wanted me to hurry up and get the sleeve surgery because I had to wait 6 months according to Medicaid. So they say they was using my Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Blue Cross Blue Shield is only 3 months. So they backdated the Blue Cross Blue Shield the 3 months, saying I was receiving medical, and somehow pushed it through as soon as I got the Blue Cross Blue Shield. Well, 3 months from January, and I was already in there for October. So it's about right. That was 6 months according to Medicaid. Because I didn't have a surgery until March 11th. So that's about 6 months. I just wasn't going to my nutrition meetings, and I should have been. And I wasn't eating. I wasn't eating right, except for the week before. I was trying. I really wasn't eating much at all anyway, but I wasn't losing weight. I was still eating bad, but I wasn't eating much. I barely eat. I was so hungry after the surgery. I don't know how I got on this subject, but I was so hungry after the surgery. I start watching people make food and eat food. I don't go into that, but I was, and they said, in my mind's eye that they planned that, like it will, and but my uncle said it was emergency surgery for him. They told him it was emergency surgery. They probably gave him a heart attack or stopped his heart or something. The same day that I was signed up for, assigned that surgery date. I mean, he can't lie in this thing or you're gonna die. So, and my honey bear told me we had the surgery on the same day. He had his surgery and I had mine the same day. I didn't even know he had the sleep surgery. And thinking back, I don't see why I wouldn't believe that. If the way he looked before and the way he looked after the surgery, his muscle mass, because I lost a lot of muscle too from that surgery. I lost a lot of muscle and started to get fat again. I didn't understand why. I was like, where my muscle going? Because I wasn't able to eat. They started starving me. Vegetables. I couldn't even eat nothing really. This is way before this even while I was working at Wells Fargo. So I guess they were stopping me from eating there too. The people I worked with when I came back from leave. Because those people who it's in this mind's eye game that's been tormenting me for Wells Fargo was working there then. Closing my stomach up then. Stopping me from eating. And then my honey bear started investigating, and nobody wanted to tell the truth about me. That I can cook or I was funny. I was a nice person. I was loving, right? That I prayed for them people and wanted them to live. My best friend in the whole branch left. They was tormenting him so bad. Right? My best friend. That was my best friend. The best person in the group, in the branch. I loved him so much. And I still do. And then Gwen, she was making me think. You know? She was in here acting like this was about forgiveness and you know, maybe for her, because I think she left. Because she was in here a couple times. And I loved her. I had to stop giving her rides home because she started cursing me. But before that, and I know I should have asked for gas money, but I didn't care at the time. Plus, I was riding the HOV lane, so I was getting home faster to my kids. And she lived in a neighborhood not too far from me. That was a setup, though. It's planned by CERN. That's what they told me, anyway. That's what they told me in my mind's eye. So was Ashley and the rest of them. And they all were playing Bitcoin. So, you know, it runs very deep. If you don't think that this is not the end of the world, I don't know what else to tell you. It's time to repent. It's time to ask God for forgiveness. All this stuff is not a coincidence. This is a plan. It's a setup. What is it? Revelations 10. I've never even noticed that word or what it was about. God is bringing so much things to my attention. Revelations 10. The mighty angel with the rainbow over his head. Like he's standing up for the homosexual community, right? Supposed to be a Jew, a gay Jewish man who loves God. And the funny thing is, um, I would stop identifying myself in a certain demographic unless I wanted certain rights, like help how I think. What comes along with that agreement of being a homosexual or lesbian or queer or trans or what is it? LB, lesbian, bisexual, LBG, gay, LBGTQ plus. Why? What? And like I said, what's in that plus? If it's pedophilia, I want no parts of it. They give you letters for what? To identify as that type of your sexual orientation. Why do they need to know that? That's something they don't need to know. Unless you're getting some type of discount or a benefit from it. Right? Then they associate you with an agenda. So the agenda is prejudice. That you look out for LBTGQ people only. Right? That's the agenda. That's discrimination. Right? Why can't he be a LGBTQH? Or why can't it just be H? I never understood what makes people queer anyway. Queer is supposed to be weird, right? What's queer? I'm just saying. If queer if queer means you like children, then it shouldn't be in there either. But I don't think that's what queer means. Queer means you're different, right? Oh, what about the A? It means you have no desire for any sexual orientation, like or desire for any other sexual contact. Asexual. There's people like that. I felt like that at one point. Didn't want to touch myself. Didn't want to touch anybody else. I was sick. And then it's A for abstinent, right? That's a part of being asexual considered, right? Abstinence though is a state of mind of waiting, right? I'm gonna be absent till I have get my husband or my wife, if it was one to have. If I was attracted to women, in a sense where I wanted a wife, but from the beginning, I never really wanted a wife. I always wanted a husband. But God has given me deeper understanding on what love really means and what love really is. Honestly, I've never been physically attracted to any woman in my life. Sexually, no. I always thought women were beautiful. I mean, honestly, I can look at another woman's body and tell her how beautiful she was and not feel any lust. And still can. So, and lust is a sin anyway. It's one of the seven deadly sins, right? So, what do we need lust for? I'm all off subject. It was supposed to be about the telling the truth, like I was telling the truth, the churches. So, the churches I've been to. So, I end up at TC Nation from 2017, 2018. I think I started watching him before I started working at the Houston Food Bank. That's when it was marked and seed, something about the seed being in the easiest way to kill a God's child is in seedly form or something like that. I forgot what the name of that series was, but I love that one too. In the dark or something, how you bury the seed in the deep ground and you want the roots to take place before it starts to grow. I forgot the name of that one. I love that one too. And his his early work up until FU. I didn't watch FU. And it wasn't because it was FU. I just didn't watch it. I don't know why. I should have. I really, really should have. It was about forgiveness. I really should have. And he told us how his wife came up with the name of the series, Forgiveness Academy. I think I might watch that if it's still up. I don't know. It's the world's so messed up now. It's probably not. And I know he made some sermons, Kingdom and Overflow. Right? Kingdom and Overflow. I think Kingdom he was teaching about Revelations. And I think they stopped that. I remember the one about racial reconciliation. That was after George Floyd. He was hot. I mean, the whole world was. Who saw that and didn't think, who thought that was right? Was that an election year? To push an agenda, push a mindset of unity, to stop police brutality? Was it one of these things? I know he's a Bitcoin, but how much money did he have in his Bitcoin that cop wanted him dead? And that was supposedly an actual cop, and the other cops that went down with him. Right? The other cops that went down with him, they putting something in my head, forgive me. The other cops that went down with him, too scared to stop him, right? And one guy was even shielding people from watching him kill him. Guess the end. And they had a previous they knew each other from the past because George Floyd was supposed to be a bouncer, right, in a club, and he threw him out because he was accosting a woman, right? There's no more. I don't really feel like there's no more coincidences in life. Why did they kill Tamir Rice and then let that man get away with it? Not Tamir Rice. That's the one who was shot by the cops. Him too, but Trayvon Martin. And what did they say about Trayvon in my mind's eye? All this craziness. All this. Right? That's how they do it. They give you a little bit of the truth and then a whole bunch of distortion and think they're telling the truth. And that's why the world's so messed up now. That's why the world is so messed up. They're still in control. And they're criminally insane. They ain't mentally ill, they're criminally insane. To think that anybody wants to live like this. Right? Anybody in the world that's in their right mind would want to live like this. Knowing what this stuff is. Knowing this stuff on our backs. Thinking that it's gonna get better. Does it really ever get better? Does it really? I just wonder. Especially since you have to make compromises and agreements. Because as Democrats, we really never won one, right? They say they've never lost. That means they've always killed the person they wanted to kill, right? And they got the Bitcoin, right? So they've never lost. They killed Dr. Sebi in this thing. Mike, Chadwick, Prince, Lisa, Nipsey, right? Right? These are all famous people. I'm not. They had people names lined up for this. They had people names lined up to put in this. Who people they've been attacking for years. Mary, Lauren, right? Famous people. Not saying they should be attacked or I shouldn't be attacked. Not saying that. I'm just saying. This is, I have no NDA. That's what I'm saying. I have no NDA. No contract saying I can't talk about this. But I don't. Not to people who do. And these things in here are not really, not everybody's a thing, but the ones that are, the ones that's following me around, the ones who's putting pubic hair on my food and semen in my head, who keeps raping me, ejaculating on my body and in my head. I don't really see the purpose of continuing. I don't really see the purpose of continuing to think there's any real negotiation that could be made other than war to get me out of here. Because they haven't stopped. And it would be a civil war because it's on U.S. soil, right? Or am I always in the U.S. or do they take this mobile land and move it to other places? I know they do, the one downtown, but is it all connected? Am I still on the island? On a portable island in the water? That they like near Detroit, or they moved it farther south so to keep it a little warmer? It don't get that cold until like the end of November usually, but we'll see. I want to know what time it is. I'm just wondering. In saying that, the churches I've named and the people I encounter, I went to that church. They're in on this. They were the evil ones though. They put the curse on me and a love demon on me that almost killed me. And then my Bible study, be strong and courageous. It wasn't my bro. It was his wife. But he knew what this is. He fought him, both my bros, and my husband. Honest to God, God works all things out for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. When I read Revelations, I had no understanding of what it meant, what all that the symbolism was, and I read it. That was after our encounter. That was after they put Legion on my brain from that massage, and I was on my medicine, so it's supposed to be keeping it under control, supposedly. The second massage, not the first one, and that was wrong too. And they put Legion on my brain, and what the masseuse did, that was all part of CERN too, right? And they want to say they had a right to because I was smoking Delta 8, the synthetic weed, trying to go to sleep or just trying to relax. That being attacked by that demon that I slept with for 5 days straight and who hurt my body, but they put my mind to sleep so I couldn't really feel it that much. My doctor told me it was too soon anyway, but I should have listened. Being hard headed. Listen to suggestive reasoning from Sherry, thinking I shouldn't. That's old school way of thinking. That's that Jezebel spirit they got on her. The agreement and mindset to think that it's all right to have sex even though you're a believer. It is. It's something she came in agreement with. She need to come out of agreement too. How she think. I love my sister, but some things the way she think was wrong. And that's how I would have rather my kids go straight live with Billy. But they wanted us dead anyway, so it really don't matter. I'm not gonna get into that much. I would have preferred them to live with Billy, but I didn't want Billy to have to raise kids. He didn't raise them like I wanted them raised anyway. you know. I guess he kind of felt like I was holding Zeke back, but Zeke wasn't ready. She wasn't ready, especially the way people drive in Texas, because she wasn't driving yet and she didn't have a job. I was letting her work through her life and enjoy her life because her childhood was taken from her. Her childhood was taken from her, and I wanted her to enjoy her life, and she was. And I didn't have a problem with waiting until she was ready to go to college or get her driver's license or get a job when she was ready. Her mind development was ready enough to say, look, this is what I want to do. I didn't make her pay rent. She offered. I said, if I need it, but at the most, no. She had money saved up. She was paying her phone bill, and she only offered to pay her phone bill because I told her I was gonna take her phone because her and Chris was talking nasty. And I think that was after November. After I went to Sophia's birthday party. That was after November. Or was it before? I can't remember. It might have been before, but they was talking nasty. It was probably after, and I told them, hey, don't be talking like that in the house no more. I said, I'm gonna take y'all phones, and I took them. They ain't have a. She was 22, yeah. I started going through Chris' phone, and that joke, that joke, my bro, oh my god, why is he blocking me from his name? Um, it's not, it's not, Kevin Hart. Forgive me, Kevin, my bro. He he did the joke at his delivery. Oh my god! And then and the fu. I forgot all about that. That was the funniest. Oh, I don't even think I laughed. I think he laughed, but I don't. I think Chris laughed, but I didn't laugh. I didn't laugh. I don't think I laughed that much. I was serious, and I told him, "Let me see your phone," because I had already. I think I already went through his phone and saw where he was on his account, his Wells Fargo account, and saw a subscription to OnlyFans for $3.99. So I guess that's what he was going through because after camp, what happened at camp and how they were saying, talking about me real bad, the kids, well, not the kid, that demon who tried to kill him at camp, her son and him, they're both gone. And how he tried to kill Chris at camp with the bugs, probably did kill him. They replaced us that first night. But anyways, he did the joke, and it was perfect about me. Let me see your phone. I'm gonna go through your phone. What's your password? He said, I don't want to tell you. This is Chris. He said, I don't want to tell you. I said, what's your password? And he said, F you. And I turned, I couldn't even deliver the joke the way Kevin did. I turned and I looked at him. If they showing the memory, they might have wiped it. I was showing the memory. I looked at him. And I cussed at him. And I said, you want me to knock your MF and head off? And he smiled and chuckled a little bit because I was serious. So you lost your mind, basically. Come on, F you, So he said, that's the code, Fuck. That's FUCKYOU, something like that. It was like the numbers with the. So F would be ABCDE. So two, F would be two. I think ABCDEF. Yeah, F. So F would be two, like FU. You spell it out. I'm so out of it. I was, He started calling me helicopter parent, but I was so like not with it, with the texting, words, and don't text me no signs, and I'm supposed to know what that means. I mean, that went out. I thought that went out with pagers, the 304 upside down and the different codes and stuff. That's how old I am, but I'm just 42. But still, that delivery, oh, that made my night. I think it was another joke somebody else did. D.L. Hughley. I think that was his own joke. I don't know if that was me or not, but that was something. But Kevin said I came up with that joke. That's what with his, you know, that's you. That was your joke, And then the one D.L. Hughley did about showing up at school. I told my kids that too. I would show up at school with some, but he took it. He took it when he put his leg up on the on the she wanted to wear something. She messed up at school or something. He would wear some short shorts and embarrass her. I embarrassed Chris, but I took it too far. So, hey, Lord forgive me, I went too far. But I put his leg up on the lunch table, and his nuts came out and stuff. And the boy in the school, it was I laughed so hard on that one. I think they just wanted to get to that part of my heart that brought joy from laughing, so they can put a curse on it. They have, but it was so funny. Oh my God, it was so funny. And then demons come walking around. But it was so funny. Oh my goodness. And that's something Sophia always thought of. She gave me that idea about embarrassing your kids instead of spanking them. And that was funny. So, I mean, this is just thinking about the things that you see in people's memories and watching them day by day. I wonder if they took the curse off of it. And is the curse only affecting the evil people now? From what they watch it anyway. You know? Is it other? I know my husband had made some other sites to watch it, so you wouldn't get had the curses on your mind. But like I was saying, my bro, Pastor Mike, he even was using this thing to try to help me and make a good decision. And I made a poor one, but it ended up affecting him from watching it. And they put a curse on his mind. I think he didn't want to do it anymore after that. Like try to help me. But they used his voice. It wasn't like the voice of God. And they probably was blackmailing him with that. Like they used Pastor Moss' voice and then they start covering it up. They even started making my bro sick. Oh, Pastor Mike. They started making him sick. I don't think and then my bro, they did. They made my brother Jim sick. He knew I was in love with Derek. He knew I wanted Derek. He knew. I didn't know he was divorced, but I knew I wanted Derek. He knew I wanted Derek. He knew I was changing my life for Bean. I wanted to be a mother to a little baby and a full time at that. And a baby girl. And keep Chris and Z with me too. That's all I was changing, having them change the way they talk. So they be around little kids. Now we had some coarse humor in our house. Very coarse. And I wanted a wholesome family. That's it. I wanted that. I wanted them there with us. I asked Derek, do you have any other kids? Didn't know I had Teddy Bear and Maddie Bear too. I didn't know. I already knew them personally as my cousins. I already knew them personally as my cousins. But I didn't know Teddy Bear was officially his. biologically, it's Kelly's and Erica's, but I didn't know it was his. He was his biologically. I didn't. I already loved them as my own. I love them so much. Love being around them. Love being in around. Mostly me and Teddy Bear. Teddy Bear mostly hung out with Chris and Z most of the time. He loved me. He gave me hugs, and I would fix his plate and stuff. But he had two moms already, so it was more of a mutual respect. Hey V, mutual respect. He kind of was mad at me at the end when they was in um Cuba when I talked to him because I hadn't seen him in almost 2 years, a year. Mad at me and Chris. He looked so mad, and I'm thinking about it, I was really hurt. I miss him and I miss Maddie Bear so much. I guess because I didn't think about missing him because we really weren't that close to the point where I would spend personal time with him, but I love him. I love him so much. I love him. He reminds me so much of Derek. It's ridiculous now that I think about it, how he think about love and how he think, how loyal and honest, how fearless, how he don't care. He is when it comes to Maddie Bear, he not playing. You don't mess with his sister. You don't mess with his sister. And I think he got he got it from Derek, definitely. I don't know how furious Erica can be. I've never seen her really mad. But he probably got it from both of them. But he felt the same way I felt at her birthday party. When that little girl was messing with her. I was more of like remove her from the atmosphere, but he was more of like whoop her ass. She bad. Whoop her. That's how Kelly talk. Whoop her. She is bad. you know. So we kind of got the same mindset. Then even he was getting mad at his dad when he was breaking my heart in this thing. He was ready to hurt Derek. I think that's before he knew he was his dad. But I don't think he watches much more what has as bad as it's gotten. But my baby bear was sick too. Those are my babies connected to me. They connected us. They had to, either that or God. Either that or God. My Nora. Nora. I was Nora the Brave, right? Like Brave. And the mother bear and Nora. And she wanted to be her mother's baby girl too. And Naya. Fierce, flame, fierce. Fearless. Her dad calls her fearless. And Navy Sky Blues. I didn't even think. I remember the first time I saw Navy, and I was singing to her. And just singing. I didn't do that, but I was holding her and feeding her, and I was feeding her and I was singing to her. She was making noises. Ah, 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 ah. I think that's baby's first words, and we don't even realize it, and we don't even know what that word means. Ah, ah. The angel protecting him. Ah, teaches them, right? Ah, right. Ah, that was the song to Ariel, right? Ah, Was that the enemy was singing or was Ariel singing it? Ariel was singing it. And Ursula took it over, right? And she was acting like her. With the voice on her neck. Mystery. It's all a ploy, is all a play. I don't even know why. I've been talking for almost 2 hours now. I don't think this one will get posted. It might be. I might as well. If it may take a couple of hours or days, as long as it been taking them to get this stuff on YouTube. I don't even know if y'all see it until I watch it again. I don't even know what I was talking. Oh, scripture wise, I don't even know what I was talking about. I think it was about Babylon. Then split into 3. 18, right? 17 talks about how Babylon will be reprimanded. And 18, that's 15. And 5 from the actual angel and not the one that sacrificed my husband. After this, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having a great authority, and the earth was made bright by his glory. His glory. His glory, his spirit. And he called out with a mighty voice, fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great. She has become a dwelling place. So he's telling about Babylon still. That's about 8. That was 18, talking about who she is. And how she's made the nation sick. So everybody knows she wasn't well. And to stop coming in agreement with her mess. And just take the cross. Take the martyr's crown of life. Pick up your cross and walk, right? Right? So his glory, they sacrificed him too. With great authority. So that means that's probably my bro. Right? And my husband, who made known who she is too, who was made known by the angel with the bowls, with the plagues, right? The mighty one, right? The one who said that the mystery of God is finished. I'm starting to think the mystery of God is something more than what it really is supposed to be. It's from Ephesians 3. And the funny, God is so intentional. God is so intentional. He knows. He knows. Why would that thing call herself God's daughter knowing she's not from God? Our God, anyway. She's not from our God. So what God daughter, the God you serve? So you Babylon then. One of them. Right? And the false prophet, y'all try to act like that was my bro and it's not. He was trying to, his Bible study is full of who? Evil. Right? The people was evil. They putting curses on them? Making them sick mentally? Right? Same thing they was doing to all the Bible study teachers, right? Even my bro Lace, right? They made him put a Zoom of the witches, like he teaching them about the word of God, and they cursing them with the Magog and Gog on there, the Babylonian spirits and the false prophet. Why they need a Zoom when they can watch his mind's eye? Or actual people who want to learn about the word of God's mind's eye, like they was doing me. Have they found everybody who's been sealed, or are they still making people have babies, or they putting lust on people so they have babies? Are they still using me to find out who's sealed or not? So they can put the bug in their head, or they just putting bugs in black babies' heads, or what? What, a stillborn, taking their bodies and their souls, right? And then how do you get the soul of an aborted baby? Not an aborted, but a miscarried baby. How do you get that soul? When the baby miscarries, how do you get the soul of a miscarried baby if people, um, if it's harder for pregnant women to transfer over to the new earth? That was all a lie, right? How do you get the souls of miscarried babies and then give them back to their parents? Or aborted babies? Aborted babies, abortion babies go to CERN, right? Their bodies, right? Their DNA. How do you get their souls? So the soul is an insemination, right? Of the embryo. That's what was told to me. The soul is supposedly created at the insemination of an embryo. And this has nothing to do with the Wade versus what is it, Roe versus Wade law about abortions. People still have choice, right? I choose life now, but I didn't before. I know better, so I do better, right? That's me though. But I want to have and since we now know that but I want to go through a whole pregnancy being raped by after being raped by a demon. And then if you don't switch the baby out, or how can I say, if you don't switch the baby out, or give me the baby, or abort the baby in the womb, because you have my mind's eye connected to the world, right? So you don't abort the baby in the womb and then give me the baby of my soulmate. If you don't, because you're trying to have demon children, why would I want to go through that pregnancy thinking my baby's gonna be a baby of a demon? Why couldn't I get the morning after pill? Why couldn't I get the plan B pill? Do you switch the embryo out as soon as it's inseminated? And since demons have AIDS and they have disease, are they even impregnating women in the first place? Or was that all a ploy? Was that all a lie to cover up for what you did to me inside of that hospital? After y'all took me out of that hotel and had Andrea put me in that hospital in Dallas, and act like y'all was driving me to the border, right? Where did y'all take me when y'all act like y'all was driving me around in circles like I couldn't leave out of Texas, and y'all was driving me to the border and had put me to sleep like y'all was taking me out of Texas, but you took me to my cousin Bert's house, and I couldn't sleep. That's all I needed. My husband wanted me to just sleep. And then you took me to that that hospital where they were impregnating women with demon seed and probably what, destroying their uteruses. And with that the what was it, radioactive the radioactive worms, the ones you was ejaculating on my back, having the demons ejaculate on my back while I was in prison and in that homeless shelter. Are women really getting pregnant by these demons, or are you giving them babies by their soulmates? And even still, who says a woman is ready to have a baby? You've had her raped. I mean, God works all things out for the good of those who love Him and called according to His purpose. True enough. But who said she wanted to have a baby right then? It's a lot to think about. I mean, who really wants to live in the world? What? I don't even want to know the negotiation, because I really don't want to live in this world knowing the things that I know. And you can't wipe my memory unless you give me amnesia, right? And you give me amnesia and leave me over here, then what? You tried before. You tried before, it didn't work. You tried before, it didn't work. You tried to give me amnesia. You tried to and had me raped with my husband, our heads chopped off. Right? Next morning, I woke up, I didn't know who I was. All I know is I had love. I didn't know, anything to sink on. I didn't know who I was. I knew where I was. That's the crazy part about it. I knew where I was, but I didn't know who I was. All I woke up and could think is like, where's my love? I didn't know my name. Honestly, I didn't know my name. I knew I was in a hotel. Um, I knew I was in a hotel. What else did I know? I knew I had love on earth. That was it. I didn't even know I didn't think about the kids until I said, where's my love? And I still didn't think about them. But I just knew I had love. That's all I could think about. Where's my love? Where's my love? And then in my mind's eye, it showed my husband jumping out of bed with his ex-wife, asking where's his wife at. Knowing that night before he just got through fighting. And the demons that is it leaking out? I should have had more pop than this. I didn't even drink that much. Oh, forgive me. This is as long as they let the camera go on for, huh? I don't think I have much more to say. Unless God give me something, I'm gonna go back to reading. Hope y'all feel still signed and delivered. Y'all have a blessed day. And please don't think I don't see that stuff they do or hear it. I do. I just nothing I can do about it. Y'all have a blessed one.